Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Chandana, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about purity of ingredients when you do a puja or a havan. So first of all, let's understand what exactly we're doing when we are offering certain ingredients. When we offer a certain type of oil or flour or fruit, what you're doing is you are making an offering of something in the material realm which carries certain attributes that are necessary, not just in terms of pleasing the deity, but in a slightly tantric manner, carries the subtle essence of a certain energy and a certain quality which is required for you, for which is required to carry out a certain kind of work, right? Which is why even when you do remedies, whether it is a diya or a certain kind of herb or something that you're burning, why is it that only when you use, say, clove, or only when you use a bay leaf, why can't you take a bougainvillea leaf or a palm leaf and do the same thing and the remedy works? This is because you need to understand that everything has a unique imprint, which is why there is so much variety and differentiation in all our ingredients, right, that we're using. So say for example, when you do a diya remedy, whether you put ghee or you put oil or you put certain herbs like maybe long or elaichi or cinnamon or rice or black sesame, the diya itself gives a different result. So the same thing is with the havan also, and this is why you should, as far as possible, to the best of your financial capacity, try to use ingredients as pure as you can, because that is what is able to bring about not only a result but the extent of how much of the result you're getting. So say for example, if you use an adulterated ghee, you may get only 20 or 30% result, because that is not enough purity level for it to give you 100% result or any result at all. Also, the other thing that you need to understand is when you do a havan or you get a havan done, make sure that they're bringing the very high quality ingredients, because this is what you're offering to the deity and it is what is needed energetically to perform whatever it is that you have asked for it. Okay, so it's like the fuel but on a subtle level. So when you are putting things like dry fruits, when you are putting other havan samagri, there are certain medicinal herbs, fragrant herbs that you're putting, so they all have a very important place in the success of the outcome of that havan, right? So the minute you start doing a havan, it does enter the field of tantra itself when you start doing the havan. So always make sure you have very pure ingredients. And another secret that I want to tell you here is that many times you think that, oh, it's just a diya, let me put any kind of oil or whatever it is. Please note that a diya is actually a mini havan that you do for people who don't know any rituals or don't know any procedures, processes, nothing. Because if you see, when the lamp is lit, the fire is still transcending and taking from the material realm and offering it to the spiritual realm. That is why the kind of oils you use in your diya also make a lot of difference. So another simple example I'll give you is, if you want spiritual development, right, you use a ghee diya, and if you want spiritual protection, then you use mustard oil. So so you cannot take a paintbrush and try to cut vegetables with it, right? So this is exactly the same logic over here, that a specific ingredient has a specific, it is a specific manifestation of a certain kind of energy, which is why the importance of ingredients is there. And not only that, especially even when you are performing havans, it is not just what ingredient, it is the quantity of ingredient also. This is something similar to, like, how much petrol would a two-wheeler require, and how much petrol a truck would require, or a plane would require, right, for it to function. So in the same manner, even your havan, when you do have a list of ingredients, and whether the pandit is getting it himself or he's asking you to get it, don't compromise on two things. One is the quality and the second is quantity. If he's saying you need 10 liters of ghee for this havan, give him the money or give him 10 liters of ghee, because that is what it will take. It is not something so that it is easy for him to put. It's because that much fuel from the material realm is supposed to be delivered into the spiritual realm to execute whatever you have asked for, right? So, and this is not necessarily dependent on whether your ask is big or is small, but it is more so to do with the type of havan that they are doing and what the minimum basic requirement of ingredients is for that havan. So in the same way, when you do puja at home also, try to make sure that the quality of your dhoop, the quality of your gugul, ghee, oil is as pure as possible and not adulterated. Because suppose you do a remedy with a diya, okay, and you put any random vegetable oil into it, and you're putting your clove and camphor and all that, but then you say, okay, I did this remedy for 2 weeks, like I saw on YouTube somewhere, or that somebody told me, but I have not got the result, is because you have not given that basic exchange to nature which is required to give you that output. Okay, so the next time you think of, or you're picking up that cheaper packet of oil or ghee, or cheaper, or skipping certain ingredients in a havan, make sure that the more you deviate from what is required, is the more is the same amount of deviation you will receive in the result you are expecting, or in whatever you have asked for, right? So when something is written or something is said that this is what needs to be done, make sure that you are following that to the T. And even on a personal level, a thumb rule would be, if you wouldn't consume it, why would you offer it to the deity, right? So a lot of people make this mistake, when it comes to yourself, you want to wear the best fabrics, eat the best quality of the food, but when it comes to the deity, the very supreme consciousness that has created you, you want to give polyester saris, you want to use adulterated oils, right? You want to use some chemically processed fragrances. So, it reflects a lot. That means you are not establishing that kind of a relationship also with the deity, right? So now you tell me, is it easier for you to ask something from someone you love, or is it easy for you to ask something from someone you don't know at all, like maybe a stranger? So it's always better to approach this path with love. So when you do ask them for something, you make sure that you are giving the best that you can to your financial capacity. And this doesn't mean, if you are eating ghee, then don't put an adulterated ghee in your puja diya, right? You put the same ghee that you are eating as well. So that it means you are being sincere in what you're offering as well. So if you're eating something adulterated and you're offering the same level of adulterated food or ghee or oil, then it's okay, because then you can pray to the deity and say that, this is where I'm at. And if you feel that I should give you more or better quality ingredients, then please give me the power and the means to earn like that, so I can offer you better things. And I guarantee you that it will happen slowly but gradually, but it does happen. And I speak out of personal experience, right? But this also doesn't mean that if you don't have pure ghee, then you shouldn't light a diya in your home temple. Whatever you have, do it with a little bit of bhakti and a little bit of devotion, and make the offering. And with time and with your prayers, God will give you the ability to get good quality of ingredients, and a good material life as well. They will definitely facilitate you if you have a sincere prayer and a pure heart. And as far as the havans are concerned, try not to compromise anywhere at all. I know havans can be very expensive also at times, but as far as possible, don't try to cut down on ingredients or the quantity, because this does affect the result and the outcome and the output of the havan into your life on initially a spiritual level and then a materialistic level. So here I want to talk about one thing. The usual approach to people is, to doing havans is, oh, but you're just setting everything on fire. No, that, yeah, physically you are, technically you are setting it on fire. But what happens is you are sending something from the material realm to the spiritual realm. And how do you think manifestation works? How do you think everything comes into existence? It is the invisible that creates the visible. It is the astral that creates the physical, right? So when you make an offering, it is you taking the first step towards the deity and requesting the deity to give you a certain something. So when you make an offering from here, they give you that blessing and grant you what you are asking for. So if you are asking for something and then you're giving all half-baked things or adulterated things, how do you think the deity is going to react to it? And please don't think that deities are devoid of emotion. If whatever you have is coming from the main source, okay, all the emotions that you feel, joy, laughter, pain, is something that they also feel, okay? So they may not be human, but they are not devoid of emotions. Okay, so how would you like it if somebody gave you all adulterated stuff and asked for a very big favor, right? But considering we are human, that may rub us the wrong way. But considering they are deities, sometimes if your prayer is so sincere, even if you give adulterated stuff, sometimes you do get. But the point I'm making here today is, please don't try to use adulterated or unnatural offerings in your daily prayer and in your puja rituals and havans. Try to keep it as, you can be a little humble, but try to keep it as pure as possible, because the principle is very simple. Whatever you're trying to send there is that energy in manifest form. So if you send an apple from here, you will get 10 apples. But if you are sending petroleum jelly and then asking for apples, how likely do you think this is going to happen? And as far as Tantra is concerned, Tantra is very specific and very, it's very clear cut as to what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. So if you start deviating from all of this and then say, oh, but we spent 25,000 on a havan and nothing happened, we didn't get what we wanted, it is probably time to check the quality and the quantity of the ingredients that you made the offering of, and check with your pandits also what they did. So this is something that a lot of people miss, among others, which is, how well the japs were done, how many lakhs of japas were done and the havan was done and all of that. But this is an important part I felt I should address today, because nobody does, and people, I feel, have lost the understanding of the real importance and value of that ingredients play. It could be mace, it could be jaifal, it could be ghee, it could be coconut oil, it could be sandalwood sticks which are used for burning, it could be a packet of sesame seeds, it could be jaggery, it could be sugar, it could be anything. But make sure that it is the best quality, because whatever you put materialistically into a havan and into your diya and your flowers, please note that there is a way where it multiplies. Okay, so we are trying to multiply something that is good, something that is of higher quality, something that is nutritious, something that is potent, right? So if you put something into that havan which is not or devoid of all of these qualities, then please note that is what to an extent will multiply into your life also. Okay, so this is all I had for you today, and until next time, take care. Namaste.